Hi, my name is Lillian Lamour, and I play the role of Beth in the new indie cult horror film INCALL. Is Beth a portrayal of a stereotypical ditzy woman? I would say no. Brock did say that my hair should be darker to kind of offset that, even though the character can kind of come across that way, but he wanted to make sure that the audience wouldn't perceive the character to be, you know, kind of a dumb blonde or something, because that was not what he was going for at all. I would say Beth is kind of an empowered female character. She's certainly not a damsel in distress kind of character. She does what she wants.
Who is it?
Ha ha, Casey, open the door.
What are you doing here?
I wanted to see what you were up to.
You know, which comes across as annoying to particularly Casey, but she still does what she wants, and she's very dominant female.
I want to know what's going on, and I want to know right fucking now. I know something's going on with you and that guy.
She's certainly not somebody, you know, female that kind of sits in the shadows and bats her eyelashes, although she might employ those techniques to get what she wants.
So how come you never give me a massage?
Are you gonna pay me?
You.
But she certainly uses it in a calculating sort of way.
So what's going on with you and Jeff?
Oh, well, we're kind of back together.
You are?
Well, not really, but we're fucking.
It's definitely a serious film, but my character kind of brings a lighthearted approach to it, lighthearted feel, and it's like a necessary character. I think the reason why I was able to pull off the scream the way Brock was wanting was because I'm kind of like a scream queen. So I've done other horror films where screaming is a kind of a necessary component, or you know, and at least an element of the films. And you know, it's the screaming scenes in the film INCALL were very important to have done right. And if you were somebody that is kind of timid and can't just belt it out, that would be a problem. So some of my experiences kind of helped me to be able to capture that scream, you know, the screaming element in the film. I first heard about the casting for the role of Beth in an online resource for actors and filmmakers called Mandy.com, which is primarily for the New York and Los Angeles market, but they do some casting elsewhere. How I landed the role of Beth, well, it was a series of 3 auditions. It was very extensive because the character of Beth was very specific in Brock's mind, and he wanted to get it right. The first audition I prepared by watching a video link that the director sent me for a test shoot for an important scene in the film, and it helped me to get a better feel for the mood of the film and what the director was going for, and to get a little bit better idea of the essence of Beth and who he was wanting, how he was wanting me to portray the role. First audition, I was an hour late for this audition, and yeah, I'm not really good with time. And I show up, it was in the middle of winter, and I wanted to be in character. So I often, when I go to auditions, I like to kind of dress what I think that the character is going to be portrayed as. And I wore like these like stripper heels, like really like impractical shoes. And I wore like a mini skirt and like this fur coat that actually is worn in the film. And Brock later on said that, like, you know, on the one hand, he was really irritated that I showed up late and was not going to even consider me for the role, because even though I did have some of the characteristics that he was looking for. But then he had said that the fact that I showed up in the getup that I was wearing, which is so impractical for the weather, seems like a trait that would be Beth. And the fact that I was an hour late, he's like, that was really annoying that you did that, but at the same time, Beth is annoying.
What the fuck just happened in here?
I have no idea. Who is that crazy bitch?
Beth. That's Beth.
And what really I think cinched it as far as him calling me back for a second audition was some of the buzzwords that I said when that I had really had an understanding of where he was going with the film, and the fact that I got the sense that it was very culty and unique, in the film community, and that made him realize that I do have like an understanding of the character and what his goals were for the film. So the auditioning process was very demanding. Brock put all of us through like a series of auditions, which usually, I mean, if you do an audition and they like you, they'll do a callback audition. It was sort of unusual to do the 3 auditions, which was kind of annoying because like you had to keep coming out. And he was very strict about like even the crew people, and everybody had to go through a process of he said it was like weeding people out, but as an actor, it was just like he was very demanding on how the audition process went. Are there any similarities between me and the character Beth? I would say definitely. She uses a lot of her like she's all into like overdressing for the occasion. Everything is like diva-esque with how she approaches anything. Just going to a cafe, she's got to be dressed to the nines. I mean, most of the costumes and things for the film, the things that she wore, I had access to because it was in my wardrobe, and so it worked out nice. And Beth is also kind of an annoying character.
Let me guess. One of your massage clients?
Yeah. So?
Nothing.
So I've been described as annoying by certain people in the course of my life, so I can relate to that. But one of the biggest things I feel like Beth is very needy, and it's kind of a mutual need thing that she has with Casey, where Casey doesn't have any friends, and he's kind of on his own, and she likes feeling needed. And so I can relate because I have a lot of the people I connect with and click with are people that are kind of fringy kind of personalities, that are kind of loners and don't know a lot of people, and I feel like it's like I like being needed. How did I prepare for the role of Beth? We did extensive rehearsals for this role. I've been in some plays before, and it almost reminded me of how we had to rehearse for a play, where there was a lot more involved in the rehearsal process and getting each scene right. Like it was more like scene study. I really liked how the director paid attention to detail with everything in the scene, whereas a lot of the other films I was in, if we did like we ran lines ahead of time, once in a great while we would have like maybe a dress rehearsal or something, if that. I knew that even when it was challenging with stuff, I knew that the finished product was going to be really good. Brock and I met before we started shooting, before we started rehearsing actually, because he wanted me to have a better understanding of the role of Beth and what he was going for, and elements of her personality. We met and sat down, and I was taking notes about what he was looking for, backstory, things like that isn't really said in the film exactly, but it captures her whole character. So some of the logistical challenges of the shoot that I encountered when I was filming with them was, we filmed in the middle of winter. I mean, a lot of my scenes were filmed indoors, but in the cafe we had to shut off the heat, and a lot of Beth's wardrobe was kind of skimpy clothes, kind of frou-frou stuff, and so it was always like just cold, just sitting there for hours and hours on end. The director had to just get a location, a cafe that was going to be agreeable to filming, and didn't have a lot of time to check everything, and So during the filming, we're saying our dialogue, and like every 2 minutes we had to stop because there would be the subway train going over in the distance, and it was just really frustrating. What are some of the reactions people have had to the film and my performance in the film? I would say the reactions have been very positive. Most people, when they've seen it, are surprised at how well it turned out. I mean, it's still, you know, it's an indie film, but a lot of people seem to like not expect much out of independent films, unfortunately, because there is a lot of poorly made things out there that there's not a lot of thought behind it. And Brock clearly put a lot of thought into everything with all the characters and the story and the locations, and just everything with the film was very detail oriented, and that's clear when you watch the film that it's very different than a lot of the films out there. And it's also different because, I mean, not just like the quality of the film, but it's also different because it's got a different mood, a different tone, very very culty feel to it, that just kind of pulls you in. So a lot of the reviews, a lot of people that have watched it have been pleasantly surprised at how well it turned out.